This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. So we actually got some sad news from Guerrilla Games recently. One of their developers was interviewed, and during the session it was revealed that the studio was going to move on from the Killzone games. As a team, they are done with those games and they want to refresh their palette. This is sad news to hear at face value. Potentially it could mean no new Killzone games overall, and probably references that at least at Guerrilla, they are not currently working on anything Killzone related. It seems the studio is just focused on making more Horizon games, along with any Horizon spin-offs. For me personally, I'm not really interested in Horizon that much. Yes, I played the first game, and I really enjoyed it at the time, but as time went on with this title, I found myself just drifting away from it. Aloy was a character upon further reflection, somebody who was rather boring, and not an interesting character. The game gets points for having a redhead as their main character, and while many elements were lifted from other games, which is not a bad thing to borrow from the best, I just don't find myself that compelled to play the sequel. Maybe I'll play the first one again for the channel at some point. I wasn't even interested in the sequel, and when parts of the game started to become what appeared to be getting those Twitter preachy checkboxes checked, then telling a good story, I'm like, I have a limited amount of time as it is, I don't think I'll be spending it here. That all being said, where does that leave Killzone? As it pertains to my history with Killzone, I played a bit of the first, but this was something that I would really love to dive into at some point, because I played it a bit at a friend's house when it initially came out, but I never actually went through it myself. Killzone 2 is where I really jumped into the series. The graphics were impressive, and I really love how the shooting had this first-person shooter cover-like mechanic. The game was intense, and I really enjoyed the campaign. I even played some of the multiplayer and liked that as well. 3 came out, and I really liked that too. Split screen was added to the campaign, a really nice touch, and the new environments were really cool. And there were some really good set pieces. The PSP game was a solid top-down shooter. Some even consider it the best of the series. The Vita game was one of the best games on that system, and would really benefit from a main console release too. Then with the last big console game, Shadowfall, a PS4 title. I know this title can be a bit divisive, but I really enjoyed it, a lot even. While there are some head-scratching moments with the story, I thought the Cold War-type tensions was a nice background for the action. The shooting was solid, and the campaign had some really cool surprises. I love whenever a game manages to do a cool fake-out, like at the end of this game, and sort of provides a secret last level of sorts. You know, like something from the original Modern Warfare game, with the plane at the end. So that is my overall opinion with the series. Generally I like it, and it is a shame that it seems like both Guerrilla and Sony are leaving it out to die. So what does Sony do now with Killzone? Personally, I think they have a few good options to go in. I think the easiest one would be to release a collection set of some kind. Currently on the PS4 and 5, you can play Shadowfall and the PSP game. 1 is not part of the classic catalog yet, and 2 and 3 I think might be available through the cloud gaming. But this is not how you want to play any shooter. A Killzone master set would be a nice option. For example, it could include the original Killzone, 2, 3, the PSP game, a console version of Mercenary, and then Shadowfall. That's a nice set of titles. It would be really nice for these titles to have a bump in both resolutions and frame rates so that they are smoother on the current tech. And for the likes of Mercenary, it would be the first time treat for some, because that was a Vita exclusive. Sony did have a hand in getting Gravity Rush 1 on the PS4. They really should make more of an effort to take the exclusives from the Vita and then port them over to the big systems. There's a bunch of other gems that could benefit from this, like Uncharted Golden Abyss. So this is an easy option for Sony. Make a remastered collection set of the Killzone games. In a perfect world, the multiplayer and co-op would be intact as well. Maybe if there's a way, add co-op both online and split screen to some of the other titles that don't have them. Looking at what to do with Killzone sort of has us looking at another problem that Sony has. There's a nice list of historical shooters that are part of PlayStation's family, like say SOCOM, Resistance, and of course Killzone. Sony seems to have been ignoring these for years. Sony was interested in getting into the live service market, yet they didn't do that with any of their prior shooters. It makes no sense. I think one or honestly all of them could thrive on the PS5. especially because there isn't an exclusive first-person Sony shooter at this point for the system. Yes, there's fun shooters to play on with there, but nothing of their own. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but if Killzone does come back, I hope that Sony does not go the remake route. Please don't do that, it's lazy at this point. Make a new sequel, tell a new story, maybe even a smaller story depending on what it is. Would people be interested in a Killzone game if it was only about the campaign and say maybe some co-op? They could make something that fuses elements from the main series and then from Mercenary, as that one had a really cool economy system in that title. There's a lot of potential here, and I think that many Sony players are hungry for a new exclusive shooter. So as a bit of a positive thing related to the Killzone news, a fan group made an open letter to Sony to have them license the Killzone game to these fans to make a new game. I don't have much information behind the group other than that they seem like a very passionate bunch of Killzone fans. I think passion and love for the source material is very important. You want people, especially those potentially taking over a series, to have played the series before and love it just as much as a fellow player. But this is only part of the equation. They need to have the development experience and skills to be able to deliver on something worthy of the legacy. I think this group might have a better chance at maybe winning Sony over, if they could make a sort of proof of concept type of thing. Show Sony something rough that was promising. Maybe that might catch Sony's eye. But either way, this brings up another good point. If Guerrilla is then done with the Killzone series, and just wants to focus on Horizon games, then why not license the series out to another development team that actually wants to work on it? Whether it be this fan group with their open letter, or maybe another internal studio at Sony that could deliver on something really good. Or if they want to go outside of Sony and find a studio that could do a good job as well. To me, it seems like the lacking of Killzone Resistance and games like that on the PlayStation has very much left a hole. Killzone may not sell as much as the Horizon games, but a few really good exclusive shooters on the system can help beef out and diversify the library of games that you offer to your players. There is a group of PlayStation players that want more Killzone Resistance, SOCOM, so if I was Sony, this would be the perfect opportunity to then test those waters. Do some remastered collection sets, see how people respond to them. This could be a good opportunity to have some fun mid-tier titles, as a way to phase in these series again. Killzone and the rest of those games have been away from the public eye for too long. As a fan, I would love to see Killzone and the rest of them come back in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it could be done by this fan group, maybe by a remastered set, or maybe by another means that I haven't mentioned here. Either way, don't let Killzone become a dead series. What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Do you prefer Horizon to Killzone? Do you not care about any new Killzone games? Or do you want more of them? How would you prefer them to come back? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.